and it's a lovely Sunday morning, people. Y'all going to church or whatever religious practices that y'all do? You need to, right? Because this world is on the brink of destruction with all the hell going on between the politicians all over the world. It's a sad day for the world. That being said, look, check this out. We are talking about some boxing this morning, y'all. So, October 25th, MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada, featuring Sebastian Fundora versus Keith One Time Thurman, right? And like, this is for Fundora's super welterweight WBC championship belt, right? And look, I have to say, in all fairness to both sides of the equation, Fundora and Thurman, right, that this is going to be some match to see, in the sense that we don't really never talk about the scientifics involved in boxing, right? When it comes to the two opponents, right? You know, they just box, right? But in this case, I'm thinking that this bout is going to have some scientific movements, right? In the sense that Fundora is 6'1", Keith Thurman is 5'7", right? Now, in a case like that, for me as an ex-boxer, right, the long guy is going to, in my opinion, the long guy is going to simply just use his jab, right? He has like maybe what? Oh man, he has basically a foot, a reach on Thurman, a foot. So all he had to do is keep his jab on his forehead, right, and use his right hand to do whatever it is that he want to do, right. So in order for Keith Thurman to be effective, he has to be in a psychological position, right, scientific position, where every time Fundora sticks his hand out, Thurman has to be able to knock it down, roll up under it, right, and be close enough to be effective with a punch. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I say. This is a chess match based on the sense that you got, you know what I mean, two different uh, uh, height opponents, right, with massive reach disadvantages as far as Thurman is concerned, and Fundora with the reach advantage. And I mean, it's like, for me, I'm going to say this. For me, it would be quite a task to be in the ring with Fundora, right, and to be effective, right? I know that I have to be in there and be able to bob and weave. That's the whole thing. Bob and weave, step in and step out, right? You know what I mean? A lot of boxers, they tend to step in and jump out, right? No, the object in boxing, when it comes to having this type of opponent, a long opponent, right, is to basically swivel, right? Pivot in and out. You know what I mean? So that puts you in a position where you're not. See, I mean, look, man. See, that's what's going on with boxing, as far as I'm concerned, right? The commentator in these podcasts, they don't break down the dynamics of boxing, right? Of boxing. They don't tell you how to be effective in the ring. They just, you know what I'm saying? They just like go on and on and on about different things that, God darn it, I mean, don't really have anything to do with boxing, right? It does, into the sense where it's talkable and debatable, right? But if you love boxing like I love boxing, you want to know what's going on with the boxers, right? And how they move it. So anyway, to make a long story short, if Keith Thurman is to be effective, he has to be able to swivel. He has to be able to in and out, right, stick and move, to so to speak, stick and move, so to speak, right, in the sense that he's going in, pop out, out. You know what I'm saying? When I say out, I mean pivot, not jump. These cats, they be, man, look, I was watching a match yesterday, and this guy didn't want to hit. I get that, right? He didn't want to get hit, right? So he would come in, right, and he would jump out, right? I mean, I'm talking about really jumping. I'm saying like, damn, he really scared. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a thing about being hit, right? But it's also a thing about being scared. If you're scared, don't box, right? Because you're gonna get touched unless you are so effective in your defense, right? Where you ain't letting nobody touch you, and that's kind of hard. You know what I mean? You got to be so it was a guy from Canada last week. Can't remember his name. Badar, I think it is. I think it was Badar, right? And this cat was really, really effective in his defense, right? He was so um it was unique in a sense that he just took his time. You know what I mean? He took his time, right? And everything he did made sense. He didn't over exude himself with energy. And that's another thing about these cats today. They use a lot of energy. I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? And you can't be effective if you're using a lot of energy, right? And you're not making no contact with your opponent. You know what I'm saying? So this is just typical boxing, but let's get back to Fundora versus Keith Thurman, right? So I think in the best interest of fundamental fairness, and that affects us all y'all in this chat this morning. I love you so much for that, right? Hit that subscription button, man. Hit the subscription button. Can you stop being lazy and hit that subscription button? You know what I'm saying? But I think that contrary to the fact that Fundora has, I mean, massive amount of height over Keith Thurman, right? Keith Thurman, being the excellent boxer that he is going to find a way to get inside, right, to touch Sebastian Fundora. I mean, this is my opinion. I believe that Keith Thurman is going to be effective in the sense that he'll take this fight. I believe in Keith Thurman. And like I said yesterday, Keith Thurman is one of the few boxers in the game that is effective in his stance, in his defense and offense towards his opponent. He's effective. He's a good boxer, man. That being said, man, I sure enough want to tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all stepping in. Tyson, what about Tyson? Who is that? MBO. We got a lot of people in this shit, but they ain't talk. Why you ain't saying nothing about boxing? Okay, I'm gonna let y'all do that. But okay, so okay, like I said, I believe that Keith Thurman is gonna be effective October 25th, MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada. That being said, man, I'm going back to bed. Hit that subscription button, hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section and give me y'all's opinion who y'all think is going to be the victor between Sebastian Fundora and Keith One Time Thurman. That being said, I'm saluting y'all out. Later.